Hello and welcome to City and County Elections in Tullahoma. I am Kelly Lepchinsky representing LightTube Television. I'm here with Jim Fuller, who is here on behalf of P-Head Productions. We also have the Tullahoma News in the building. We are doing a great big joint election coverage this evening. Jim, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Kelly?
I am doing well. So I'm looking forward to these results. We've got lots of things to cover tonight. And what we will be doing here really is just covering Tullahoma races. So we've got school board, we've got a big alderman race. We'll be talking a lot about that tonight. We've got some county commissioners who serve Tullahoma districts that we'll be covering. And then we're only going to look at a couple of the county races this evening. We're going to look at the race for sheriff, and we're going to look at the race for county mayor.
Right.
And then, of course, our news partners at the Tullahoma News will have the rest of that coverage for you once we wrap up here on air. We're really just being very hyper-local on this newscast this evening.
Absolutely. And, that way you're bound to get the results you want to maybe not what you hope for, but you'll get the facts at some point from one of these outlets tonight. We're awful proud to be working with the Tullahoma News, and I'm glad to be here with the nice folks at LightTube, and you're so gracious to include us in this, and we appreciate it very much. You know, Kelly, this has been probably one of the most heated alderman races that I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah. Well, you know, one of the interesting things about it, and it may have something to do with why it is so heated, is this is, like it or not, a historic election because we are in the middle of a charter change, and we are smack dab in the middle of changing that charter so that all of our elections fall on even years.
Right.
Well, this happens to be the year that sort of gets all that shuffling into order. So we're going to vote in 4 people, and we've never done that before, and that is an automatic majority on the board if you can get 4 like-minded people. And I think that's where this pool of candidates came from. We've got 3 incumbents, but 4 very like-minded people running to take away some seats.
Exactly, and there's kind of been a pretty good organized race with some partisan overtones to that, and which I guess makes it interesting if you're not one of the candidates.
If you're not one of the candidates,
right.
surely.
I think 3 of those seats are for 4-year terms, are they not? And 1 is for 2.
That is indeed. That's how we're going to shake this out and get us back on track for even years elections in future years. Those will be, we'll vote for 3 and 3. So obviously Robin Dunn and Jenna Amacher are safe. They're not on the ballot. They're still in the middle of their term. They will be joined by the least vote getter. Right. So the person who comes in 4th tonight will get a term, but it will only be a 2-year term.
Right.
And they'll come up with Jenna and Robin in the next even year election. The other 3 that we vote in tonight will have a full 4-year term for 2 years, for the 2 years beyond the next 2 years.
Exactly. And, it's certainly been an interesting race. As I mentioned, it's been heated at times. And we hope everybody still likes each other when the results are in tonight.
Certainly. We know a lot about our incumbents already. And we know quite a bit about some of the people who are running to take some seats. We have Alderman Jimmy Blanks, by the way, not running again. His seat is already one of the new people is automatically going to get in.
Right.
There's a spot open there. They're also looking to take to maybe unseat 1 or all 3 of the incumbents. Now, we know those incumbents. We know them well. We've seen them work for the last several years. In fact, in the last election that you and I did together, I think in 2020.
Right.
We saw, I don't think we saw any of these people voted in because that was a Robin Dunn, Jenna Amacher year. But we did see Zenobia McGee end up getting appointed into the spot that was vacated when Ray Noyes became mayor.
When Ray Noyes,
because he was in the middle of a term.
Exactly. Right.
So.
And she's also on the ballot tonight, seeking a full term, I think.
Absolutely. So we'll talk a little bit about some of those people we haven't heard so much from when we come back right after this.
Classroom. We're fighting for our small business.
I'm fighting to keep my family safe.
Whatever you're fighting for, it's time for all Tennesseans to fight back. Until there's a vaccine for COVID-19, this is the face of a fighter. Face it, masks fight COVID-19.
The individuals with dementia, those with Parkinson's, those that have maybe mobility issues, need caregivers. Well, those caregivers are 24 hours a day at home, and they never get a rest. And if they have to go to work, they're kind of out of luck. So that's why Trinity came into existence 25 years ago, to allow the caregivers to have a safe center where they could put their loved ones, know they would be well cared for, stimulated, fed good, nutritious meals, have activities to their level, and then the caregiver can stop by and pick them up and go on home and have some continuity into their life.
MacArthur Manor Assisted Living is passionate about creating better experiences for our Manchester seniors. Our residents describe us in a few words.
Welcoming.
When you walk through the doors at MacArthur Manor, we'll treat you like family.
Caring.
Through high standards of personalized care, we help residents live life to its fullest.
Engaging.
With a wide range of life-enriching activities, there is something for everyone at MacArthur Manor. With our residents and staff now vaccinated, call us today to schedule your safe and personalized tour.
Right here on LightTube. Once again, I'm Kelly Lepchinsky here with Jim Fuller. And as we went into the break, we were talking about some of the people who were coming in looking for a seat. Now, we know a couple of them very well. Jerry Mathis has served before. In fact, he relinquished his seat for the last election that we covered in 2020. Jenna Amacher took the seat that Jerry Mathis left vacant. So now he's coming back to see if he can get his seat back. He chose not to. He wasn't outvoted last time. He chose not to run. Now he is choosing to run again. We also know Kurt Glick fairly well because he was the head of the Parks and Recreation Department for years and years. You may know how many years. I don't off the top of my head.
About 36, I think. He's been in the Recreation Department, been director for 29. So, you know, he's retired now, but he's got a lot of years in the Recreation Department. And I'd have to think, not to get you off track, that probably helps Jerry Mathis, who was the Tullahoma High School baseball coach and athletic director for many, many years. And that probably helps both of them as far as name recognition coming into this.
I would think so. So and that's exactly it. The two that don't have that name recognition, as far as I know, are the other two seeking a seat. We've got Linda Perut Johnson, and then Bobby Wilson, who really, to me, came out of nowhere for this race. I've been covering news in Coffee County for about 30 years, started in radio, went through print, now I'm here on television, and she's not somebody I have ever heard of
I think
before.
Bobby's only lived in Tullahoma for about 5 years.
Okay.
And I believe she's a realtor.
I believe that's true.
And so, they're both are seeking that seat, so we'll see how that turns out, or seeking one of those seats. We'll see how that turns out.
And while she doesn't have the name recognition as some of these other do, and she doesn't necessarily have an incumbent spot, she does have, as you mentioned, this has been one of the more vocally contested alderman races. She did get a spot on the Republican Party, which city races aren't supposed to be partisan. They're supposed to represent everyone in the city. But there was a very, very clear party line drawn here, and she did get that.
Yeah, and which was the first time I ever remember that happening. And the Republican Party actually backed. They had four candidates that they endorsed: the two Mathis and Kurt Glick, and the two newcomers, and did not endorse the incumbent, Daniel Berry, who I believe was also a Republican. But
he has always been somewhat cagey about listing a party affiliation, which to some people might say that's to his credit. Some people really would like you to say you lean one way or another. But what I will say about both him and Rupa is that they have been very, very clear during their time in office that they are open to the people that they represent. Their phone number is out there. They're willing to talk to you. They're willing to hear your issues, and they're willing to take those issues to the city board and get them heard. So there's something to be said for that, not saying that any of the newcomers might not be the same way. We just don't necessarily know that yet.
I think you make a good point when you talk about how open and how they've connected with their constituents throughout their term. And I believe that actually that they've really gotten attacked in from a lot of angles here, but I still think they're a threat to win because of that. Because they've sort of went directly. They've been quite transparent about what they've done, and I think they've worked hard to connect and communicate with their constituents.
Absolutely. And, of course, I haven't mentioned Zenobia McGee. One of the things that she has done, that big Easter egg hunt that we have now back on the grounds of South Jackson Civic Center, she was very much spearheaded behind that effort. In fact, it was on one of the commercials we saw a minute ago with very large participation, a very nice city event that she brought back to the table as well. And, of course, she seems to be a very level-headed person when we watch those board meetings, which, by the way, we cover here on LightTube every board meeting, the second Monday of the month, fourth Monday of the month, the city board meets. We also cover the planning commission meetings. For those of you who may not be as informed about some of the things going on there, you're seeing those Save Tullahoma signs all the way across town. There is some misinformation out there. You can get correct information by just tuning in to LightTube Channel 6 or on our Facebook, YouTube page.
You mentioned the Save Tullahoma thing. That might have some influence on how this race comes out.
I think there's an intent
it sort of came in right at the end of the race. But you think there might have been?
I think there may be some intent for that to be a driving force in this. I think that there is some animosity behind some of the ideas that are considered in the Think 2040 plan, that are considered to be by the public. Things that are going to be enacted that actually the plan itself doesn't enact. Again, this has been more than a year in process. We've covered every single one of those meetings live from the very first charrettes. I wanted to say charcuterie, so, thanks for bringing that in. Now I'm hungry. But yes, from the very, very first meetings that they've had, this has all been very public. They've asked for input. There was input, and this final plan is something that those people who did bother to participate in the whole year of planning said that they wanted. Here's the smart growth, which is just the exact opposite of what the Save Tullahoma group is saying. They're saying smart growth. Well, that's what the city paid for, smart growth. We brought in consultants. We brought in the public. We said, what do you want? How do you want it to look? And came up with this plan that is really right now nothing more than a vision board. So this says, this is what we would have said we'd like to see in Tullahoma. And if any of this comes up, it will go to the Planning Commission. It still has to be voted on, and you can participate in those meetings. You can be there if something comes up as an actual plan that you object to. Hey, that's how this works. Go to the Planning Commission, object to it. Absolutely. The Think 2040 plan doesn't enact anything. It makes it possible. It gives them something to look at and say, yeah, okay, here's a place that we said could be growth. They're right about that. There is a place pinpointed where there could be growth that we have considered smart growth, but no plan has come to the Planning Commission yet.
I'm no expert on the 2040 plan, but even if it were enacted as it's written right now, they'd still have to go through the regular process of getting approval, zoning, and all those kind of things, correct? Right,
you're right, and that is exactly, the word choice here is important because there's nothing to enact. This is just adopt. This is saying, this is like cutting out pictures of your living rooms that you maybe want to redo your kitchen, or whatever, and putting it on a pin board and saying, this is when I do my kitchen, what I would love it to look like. And then later you go to Lowe's and say, oh, you know what, that countertop's a little bit steep for me. I'm going in a different direction.
Absolutely.
The Planning Commission is where you go, oh, it's a little steep for me.
That is a good analysis, I have to say. And I feel a little bad for the codes director. I think her name is Mary.
She's now planning director, Mary Samaniego.
What is it? Samaniego, right. Okay, but because a lot of people are blaming her for this, and she is really the person who only writes it down and puts it in the right forms. I think she's not. These are not necessarily her ideas. And
again, blame is a very strong word here because again, nothing is enacted. This was a very, very public process. So I think we're going to wait and see if we get some more precincts, and we're going to take another break. Maybe take a moment to breathe. We'll be back in just a second.
All right.
It's not invoice. It's not MSRP. It's not Christmas Day, although it may feel like it. It's the lowest prices in Middle Tennessee, period. Get to Stan McNabb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Stan McNabb Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac before these prices are gone forever.
Every year, thousands of people come together in Shelbyville, Tennessee to celebrate the greatest horse in the world by naming world champions and world grand champion Tennessee walking horses in multiple divisions. Join us this year for the 84th Annual Tennessee Walking Horse National Celebration, featuring 198 classes starting August 24th and continuing through September 3rd, when the world grand champion Tennessee walking horse will be crowned. Contact the celebration today at 931-684-5915 and reserve your seats. Then come out and enjoy 5 days and 10 nights of the best Tennessee walking horses competing for top honors.
Clayton's has been Tullahoma's shoe store for over 120 years, and Florence Hall continues that tradition today. We're the only shoe store in town that starts with measuring your foot to make sure you get the perfect fit in a quality shoe. That includes narrow through wide widths for men, women, and children. Clayton Shoes, the family shoe store you'll love.
We're gonna fit your style. We're gonna make you smile. Service and quality at Clayton Shoe Store. We're gonna fit your style.
Here at Barkview Senior Living, they're human friendly. That's why I love it here, and so does my senior human. When they want a bite, they get chef-prepared meals, and so do I. Movies in the theater, day trips, walks on the trail, and other senior humans to play with. The grass and the grounds are exquisite. It's everything my human needs to be healthy and active. Parkview Senior Living, for your dog's best friend, you.
There's a lot of talk about the risks associated with the COVID-19 vaccine, but the reality is, it's safer than going for a run. Give it a shot. Find a free appointment today at covid19.tn.gov.
We teach Parkinson's patients how to move big and not let the Parkinson's slow them down. I've had patients I've treated in-house that could not even stand up, could not roll over in the bed, left the facility walking with a walker, have come back to us in outpatient and continued their big program and are now completely, handling life. The success of the program is just phenomenal.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors and meet new people. We have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails.
This is the face of a fighter.
I'm fighting to keep Tennesseans working.
I'm fighting for time with my friends.
I'm fighting for football on Saturday.
I'm fighting to see my students back in the classroom.
We're fighting for our small business.
I'm fighting to keep my family safe.
Whatever you're fighting for, it's time for all Tennesseans to fight back. Until there's a vaccine for COVID-19, this is the face of a fighter. Face it, masks fight COVID-19.
We teach Parkinson's patients how to move big and not let the Parkinson's slow them down. I've had patients I've treated in-house that could not even stand up, could not roll over in the bed, left the facility walking with a walker, have come back to us in outpatient and continued their big program and are now completely, handling life. The success of the program is just phenomenal.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
For many senior citizens, life looks like this, but it doesn't have to. When you make your home at Parkview Senior Living, life after retirement takes on a whole new meaning. Daily exercise options, fun outings, happy hour, game nights, movies and popcorn, arts and crafts, enjoying friends over chef-prepared meals. Parkview Senior Living, where you're always home, but you're never home alone.
The individuals with dementia, those with Parkinson's, those that have maybe mobility issues, need caregivers. Well, those caregivers are 24 hours a day at home, and they never get a rest. And if they have to go to work, they're kind of out of luck. So that's why Trinity came into existence 25 years ago, to allow the caregivers to have a safe center where they could put their loved ones, know they would be well cared for, stimulated, fed good nutritious meals, have activities to their level, and then the caregiver can stop by and pick them up and go on home and have some continuity into their life.
MacArthur Manor Assisted Living is passionate about creating better experiences for our Manchester seniors. Our residents describe us in a few words.
Welcoming.
When you walk through the doors at MacArthur Manor, we'll treat you like family.
Caring.
Through high standards of personalized care, we help residents live life to its fullest.
Engaging.
With a wide range of life-enriching activities, there is something for everyone at MacArthur Manor. With our residents and staff now vaccinated, call us today to schedule your safe and personalized tour.
Election coverage here on LightTube. We're working tonight with our friends at P-Head Productions. This is Jim Spoler with me, and of course the Tullahoma News, and we have a
results
district in. Jim,
Yes,
you
we
want to
do.
read those for us tonight?
All right, this is going to be in the Tullahoma Alderman race, and Jerry Mathis is leading in that race right now with 70. I'm going to get out of sequence from what they're on your screen, and we'll probably mess this up, but with 74 votes, that's really not a surprise. Daniel Berry with 66 votes is in second place, and Kirk Lick.
Kirk Lick
the
and
third,
Tsunobi McGee, both at 55.
55. So this precinct's not going to tell us just a whole lot about how this race might come out because it's awful close.
Well, we do see that party line happening. We see that Bobby Wilson, who we mentioned before, is someone we don't know much about, has 53 votes, where Rupa has 51. You also see it over there in the District 7-1 Commissioner.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Rosemary and Jackie both have served for long periods of time. Tina Reed, relatively unknown, at least to me, 69. So you see that party line coming into what should be, well, in the district commissioners, those actually did have a primary. Those aren't necessarily party races, but I think we're going to see how this plays out throughout the whole course of the night. We're seeing it set early on right here.
Right.
Judd Matheny ahead. We expected that, the name recognition, and he's held some pretty high seats in office in government. And then County Sheriff Chad Parton has a very strong lead there, which is, and he's the incumbent.
Absolutely, and I kind of expected that, but that he would be very strong tonight. He seems to be pretty popular. Hadn't made anybody mad for the most part, and I thought he would run pretty strong tonight.
You know, when we worked at the Tullahoma News, there was a lot of talk before he got elected. Steve Graves, there were a lot of people who were ready to bring something new and something different with Chad Parton, and I think he did most of the things that people wanted to change. He changed. So the people who had a strong opinion about what they wanted from their sheriff got it from Chad Parton. There are people who have now different opinions. I think that's why we see there was a fairly large race there for the primaries to compete against Chad, but I think he's going to hold on fairly well throughout the evening. We'll see as that moves along.
You know, the county mayor race a little bit closer than I might have thought. I thought Judd Matheny would probably run strong. You mentioned he's been in a lot of different elected, or a couple of different elected positions over the years, but was pretty popular. But that Margaret Cunningham, however, has worked in the county mayor's office and headed up several projects, I think, that they've had there.
She has indeed, and this is one of the things about county races where you really can see the difference in a Tullahoma and Manchester line. Tullahoma people are going to be far more familiar with Judd. He graduated from Tullahoma High School. He grew up here. Everyone knows him here. And then, of course, his advancement through government. Margaret Cunningham is going to be a more familiar name on the Manchester side of the ballot. They will have known her from the county mayor's office, which we don't deal with a lot here in Tullahoma. They will have, gone to church, gone to school, had more dealings with her than Tullahoma voters will have had. But, of course, talking about the county mayor and the county sheriff, those are ballots that are going to come from both Tullahoma and Manchester.
Right.
Now, backing up to these other races for alderman and school board, we're going to have votes that come in from Coffee County and Franklin County. And so we're going to see early voting from two different counties. come in today. And we also probably want to at least address redistricting. Because, this has been, we've had a little bit longer wait to get results from one of our precincts, and there may be something in that the precincts are different this time out. Some of them are the same places, polling places that you've been to before. Some of them aren't, because
and there are fewer.
After the 2020 census, there was a full redistricting in Coffee County, and we are now District 7, 8, and 9, with 2 polling precincts for each district. You used to see Grace Baptist had 2 distinct precincts at that one location. Well, they don't this year. This year they've got 1. But Cedar Lane Church of Christ has 2, and their speak of the devil is Cedar Lane Church of Christ. Now, they have District 9-2 and District 9-4. This is District 9-2, and you can see how few people it actually represents.
That's the one's got
hang on now. We're seeing Wilson Avenue pop up with nothing in from that precinct yet. So our Church of Christ needs to come back up for us to take a look at those numbers. But what we were seeing...
We know somebody voted in that precinct.
Well, there's a 9-4. Now, I think we were just looking at 9-2. Now we're looking at 9-4, and we do see some numbers there.
Right.
And we see significant return votes for Jerry Mathis. You want to tell us about some of the other ones?
102 for Jerry Mathis, so we might be seeing a trend starting here. Daniel Berry comes in at 84. Bobby Wilson also at 84. Kurt Leak is in second place at 98. Linda Johnson with 82. Cernovia McGee with 46. And Rupa with 64. And Bobby Wilson, to tell you the truth, is running awful strong in these first 2 precincts that we've seen, which may be somewhat of a surprise.
Well, you can see Jerry Mathis, the top vote getter for alderman in this particular precinct. Right behind him, though, is Kurt Glick.
Right.
Then you drop down a number of votes before you get the tie there for Bobby Wilson and Daniel Berry. So if we were just taking Cedar Lane Church of Christ district, there would be your top 4 right there.
Right.
Now, in District 9-4, you have the commissioner race. You only see 2 names in this one because in District 9, this race was decided in the primary. You've got 2 Republicans on the ballot. They are uncontested, no independent, no Democrat. These are your winners. These are basically just courtesy votes for Lynn Seaborn and Frank Watkins.
You're seeing a much wider lead in this precinct for Judd Matheny than we saw in the City Stamps Center, and 106 to 52 over Margaret Cunningham.
That's more than double.
Yeah, it is. And go ahead.
And Chad Barton, look at the county sheriff race. There is no question how Cedar Lane Church of Christ in this 9-4, District 9, Precinct 4, has voted for Chad Barton overwhelmingly.
Right. So, as I said earlier, I'm not really surprised that Jerry Mathis is doing as well as he is, because he's led both precincts that we saw here. He was a very popular baseball coach and athletic director, and I actually saw, I don't know, some numbers about how much the candidates have spent, and let's look at those current.
Jerry Mathis. No, this is only 2 precincts heard from, but Jerry Mathis is ahead, 228. Daniel Berry right behind him at 200.
Right.
Nobody else has broken the 200 mark, although Kurt is close.
Yeah, he's in the money here with 198. Who would be 4th would be Bobby Wilson.
There you go. And sadly for the incumbents, Rupa Blackwell and Cernovia McGee are just pulling up the rear in this race so far. Now, we don't want to give short shrift to school board, but once again, this is kind of uncontested races. There are 2 seats open. You see Sid Hill and Gigi Robinson right there. You see their totals, but they are very likely already voted in. It's not that it's completely uncontested. There is a write-in candidate, and we're not getting those write-in numbers onto the board here. We don't expect the write-in candidate to do any sort of a sweeper upset.
That would have to be a long shot.
Right.
Yes.
She was a late entry to decide to try to hold on to her seat, and I think that was Amy Johnson. Is that correct?
I think so. Yeah.
But should something surprise us, we will let you know. But we did not end up with her name on that board,
right?
Because we do expect Sid and Gigi to get the votes. They to keep their seats.
So,
or I'm sorry, for Gigi to come back on the board, not keep her seat.
Yeah, she was on the board before.
She was indeed.
Right.
In fact, in 2020, I think she ran, and I don't remember who got the seat that she left behind there, but Kim Usselton was voted back in the last time around, and Gigi was not.
I remember that. Kim led the ticket.
She sure did.
You know, I was talking about campaign finances, and there were some numbers in that, I think, in the Tullahoma News that I just glanced at, but and there's still, I think, one more financial report to come. But through the July 11th, I think it is, Jerry Mathis had spent nothing.
Okay.
and hadn't received any contributions. So.
You talked about name recognition.
Yeah,
like we said,
right,
he served on that board for a very long time. He was a coach in town. People know his name.
Right.
Even his campaign signs that went up in yards were probably ones he'd used in his last re-election campaign.
Right.
You know? So it didn't take a lot of work to get his name out there. But one of the names, that, like we said before, Bobby Wilson coming out there in the top 4 and the 2 precincts we've seen so far is an indication that campaign spending has had something to do. Some network is working here. Now, whether she has individual numbers that compare to maybe where Kurt Glick, I've seen Kurt Glick had individual commercials out there, fully produced commercials out there. So I don't know if she spent as much or if being included on that, Republican candidate's card is enough to have gotten her the name recognition that she needed.
Perhaps it was. We don't know. You know, she was one of the ones, obviously endorsed by all 3 of the leaders.
Right.
Were endorsed by the Coffee County Republican Party. So.
And the thing is, on the ballot for this city race, it shouldn't tell you Democrat or Republican. It shouldn't make a difference.
Right.
But in this case,
on the ballot, it does not tell you. Yeah, you're right. It's been an issue, and that's sort of been something different in the past, and it's been a rather contentious issue at times. So anyway.
So one of the reasons I was mentioning the redistricting is because I think that may have a little something to do with the delay in getting precinct results. We've got new places. We may have the same election workers who previously worked in these situations, but they're going to be set up differently. They're going to have different, and then all of this contention that we're talking about. Let's talk about this too. There's also a state and federal primary on this, as well as the county generals and the municipal races. It's a long ballot.
Yes, it
is.
is.
If people waited until today to get out and vote, if they saw the way the winds were going and they wanted to get out there and see their voice, if they had a differing voice, and they went out today, it's going to take them longer to cast the ballot, and it's going to take it longer to get that back.
You know, I saw some figures on early voting and at some point, and there were about 5,000 something voted early, which 5,000.
I think about 1,800 in Tullahoma voters. And speaking of Tullahoma,
yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now Wesley Heights is in, and you can see here our leader in this race is once again Jerry Mathis, followed very, very closely by Daniel Berry.
52-50, and Kurt Glick with 45, still in the money. Then Bobby Wilson drops down with 38, Cernovia McGee with 39, and Rupa with 35. So
Cernovia got 1 vote more than both Linda Johnson and Bobby Wilson. That is a very, very close race right there at Wesley Heights Methodist Church, which is what we're reporting now in District 7. Now, this is 7-2, so I think we've seen another 7 because we see Rosemary Crabtree and Jackie Duncan once again splitting the Democrat votes. Tina Reed getting, I guess, all the independent votes. I believe she was the independent candidate for the commissioner seat there. So it looks like Tina Reed is going to have a pretty good shot from what we've seen so far, and it'll be either
we've
Jackie,
seen, 3 precincts so far?
I believe so, right.
She's done quite well.
And Judd Matheny holding on. Oh, here comes Wilson Avenue. Okay, so look at this. Jerry Mathis, Daniel Berry. Once again, breaking the 100 marks there, and then close race.
Rupa comes up, and Rupa Blackwell comes up into 3rd place here, it looks like.
She does indeed, followed directly by Kurt Glick, 1 vote different. But then we see Linda and Cernovia and Bobby all down there in the 70s. And I say down there, that's not that far a drop.
No, it's all pretty close.
Right, when we see those other districts that we've looked at. Now, Sid Hill, Gigi Robinson, you see those votes that they don't necessarily need to win, but they're 108 and 126 respectively. County Commissioner, District 9. This is an uncontested race. These are just votes of support, 109 and 113. Judd Matheny, once again, doubles the vote totals for Margaret Cunningham in the race for county mayor, and then Chad Parton holding on to a strong lead at the Wilson Avenue Church of Christ.
Yeah, Chad Parton looks awful good here. And this is the current totals for the Tullahoma Alderman. Jerry Mathis leading with 455. Kurt Glick in second with 408. Daniel Berry in third with 383. And Bobby Wilson in fourth with 381. Is that how you see that?
That is what I am seeing as well.
Okay.
Yes. So there you
Awful
go.
close.
It is. And from that 381, you looked at our next ones now. We've got 360 is Linda Perut, 314 for Rupa. So you can see that some of that. Many people think she's done a very good job. I am one of those because she speaks to the people.
I do
However,
as well.
there has been a strong campaign. Mainly, I think there's been a campaign against her to get the 4 onto the board. I think it's a matter of you've got to get the people off the board to create seats for the people you want on the board. And I think targeting Rupa, targeting Cernovia, targeting Daniel would open up those 4 seats that they want for their candidate.
Well, it would appear that Rupa's probably been targeted more than anybody else, but Daniel would be a close second.
He would indeed. Yes, he would.
In that respect.
All right. So District 7, 8, and 9, these are the current totals. Now, I'm not sure if we've heard from both precincts in all of these races, because I'm not sure we've seen the Marion Galbraith Dwight Miller numbers before. Have we?
I don't think we have.
No. But Tim Stubblefield is well out ahead in that race. I'm talking about District 8, middle of your screen there. Oh, my goodness. Here comes Grace Baptist. Okay, we'll come back to those numbers here in a second. 201 leading the race, Kurt Glick now at Grace Baptist. No, 223. I missed that. Jerry Mathis, followed by Kurt Glick. That's kind of the way this has been going tonight.
Looks like Bobby Wilson, 181, and Linda Johnson with 180.
Oh, yeah, I would have misread that.
Make
Yeah,
up your top 4.
Absolutely. My eyes glanced right over that number. All right, so that's a newcomer to the top 4 there. District 8 commissioner over there. Now, this is what we were just talking about on the totals. The District 8 commissioners, we had not seen the Grace Baptist totals before. You do see Tim Stubblefield at 241, followed by Dwight Miller, and then Marion Galbraith, who I believe was running as an independent in that race, is trailing at 124.
Miller and Stubblefield are the incumbents here, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Then, of course, county mayor, that's more than double for Judd Matheny this time out. Grace Baptist gave him 257 votes to Margaret Cunningham's 93.
I think you mentioned this earlier, though, but you might expect that Margaret Cunningham might run a little stronger in the county and in Manchester than she would in Tullahoma.
And I think the clearest idea we'll have of that tonight is when we actually see those early voting totals, when we see how close they are from the county as a whole. We do expect Judd to have slightly stronger numbers from these Tullahoma precincts.
Right.
And I don't know that that's true, however, for county sheriff. I think that there's not really a strong Tullahoma leaning for any of the candidates here. Chad Parton is the incumbent, and name recognition goes a long way when, let's face it, a lot of voters don't really know what makes a good sheriff, don't really know what it is you're voting for there. They're not as public. You don't see as much what the sheriff does as you see what an alderman does or a school board member does. And so name recognition, especially if you're an incumbent, goes a very long way unless people are unhappy with you.
Correct. And there's your recap of your current totals again. I think we've had 4 precincts, have we not?
I believe that is right, yes.
Jerry Mathis leading 678, followed by Kurt Glick at 609. Bobby Wilson is now in 3rd place with 562, and Daniel Berry with 547.
But very close in those current totals. Look, that
Yes, it
Linda
is.
Johnson at 540. So she's pulling up there a little bit, and then we're starting to see that that group come together there. Jerry Mathis, Kurt Glick, Bobby Wilson, and then right there, it's a horse race right now.
It is,
between
is it not?
Linda Johnson and Daniel Berry. School board, those are again support votes. 563 for Sid Hill, Gigi Robinson at 842.
Okay, so
So we have heard from C.D. Stamps, Wesley Heights Methodist Church. So we've got District 7, what we see on
You were
District
so
7.
efficient. I'm so glad you were checking them off over there.
Well, I did try. I'm not sure I've got them all, but I know that when we see the totals for our District 7 commissioners, which, by the way, don't have to be added anywhere else. They're going to be not certified but complete. When we see District 7 current totals come up, that is what we should expect, because that is the only 2 districts that would have voted on those people. In District 8, they were voting on Dwight Merriam and Tim. I think we've seen Grace Baptist, but we have not seen Lions Club. So that one was not complete yet. We won't know District 8 yet. And then District 9 has 3 different precincts. It's the only one there's Lions Club. Let's go back and finish that thought, because this will complete our District 8.
Okay, Kirk Glick leads here with 122. Jerry Mathis following at 120.
I'm going to have to correct you there, yeah.
Bobby Wilson at 130. And then Jerry Mathis with 120. And so the 4th would be Daniel Berry.
No, Linda Johnson. You're seeing that Bobby Wilson at 130. 122 is Kirk Glick. Yeah. 120 is Jerry Mathis, and 1 vote behind her, Linda Johnson. So Lions Club carries the Republican ticket there. Sid Hill, Gigi Robinson, 104, 155. District 8, 1. Now this completes our District 8. In this particular place, you see Tim Stubblefield in the lead, Dwight Miller right behind him, Marion Galbraith picking up the tail end, and that is the way it was over at Grace Baptist as well. So we can pretty much tell you Tim and Dwight are safe.
And Lions Club, Grace Baptist, that's our biggest precincts, I believe, in Tullahoma.
Okay. I honestly, I'm not familiar with how big the precincts are, but there you go. County mayor was what you expected in that one as well.
Exactly. Right.
So, yeah.
All right.
I think we're going to take a breather here. Let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
He's a little bit of you, he's a little bit of me. He's the trash along the roadside of Tennessee. He's the garbage that we find. He's the dream we left behind. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash. Much to a traveling man, but a little bit of litter goes a long, long way. Growing, growing, getting bigger every day. Tennessee trash messing up the highways. Tennessee trash jogging up the byways. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash.
We have met the enemy, and he is us.
To be honest, I was skeptical about getting the COVID-19 vaccine.
I checked what the CDC says and spoke with my doctor about the potential side effects. It definitely made me much less anxious. She told me if I have some arm pain or feel tired, that's completely normal as my body builds a defense to the virus.
I was willing to take the vaccine to protect me, my family, and my friends.
Join the millions of Tennesseans who have decided to give COVID-19 vaccines a shot. Visit covid19.tn.gov to find an appointment today.
It's not invoice. It's not MSRP. It's not Christmas Day, although it may feel like it. It's the lowest prices in Middle Tennessee, period. It's a Stan McNabb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Stan McNabb Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac before these prices are gone forever.
Every year, thousands of people come together in Shelbyville, Tennessee to celebrate the greatest horse in the world by naming world champions and world grand champion Tennessee walking horses in multiple divisions. Join us this year for the 84th Annual Tennessee Walking Horse National Celebration, featuring 198 classes starting August 24th and continuing through September 3rd, when the world grand champion Tennessee walking horse will be crowned. Contact the celebration today at 931-684-5915 and reserve your seats. Then come out and enjoy 5 days and 10 nights of the best Tennessee walking horses competing for top honors.
Clayton's has been Tullahoma's shoe store for over 120 years, and Florence Hall continues that tradition today. We're the only shoe store in town that starts with measuring your foot to make sure you get the perfect fit in a quality shoe. That includes narrow through wide widths for men, women, and children. Clayton Shoes, the family shoe store you'll love.
We're gonna fit your style. We're gonna make you smile. service and quality at Clayton Shoe Store. We're gonna pick your style.
Here at Barkview Senior Living, they're human friendly. That's why I love it here, and so does my senior human. When they want a bite, they get chef prepared meals, and so do I. Movies in the theater, day trips, walks on the trail, and other senior humans to play with. The grass and the grounds are exquisite. It's everything my human needs to be healthy and active. Parkview, Parkview Senior Living, for your dog's best friend, you.
There's a lot of talk about the risks associated with the COVID-19 vaccine, but the reality is, it's safer than going for a run. Give it a shot. Find a free appointment today at covid19.tn.gov.
We teach Parkinson's patients how to move big and not let the Parkinson's slow them down. I've had patients I've treated in-house that could not even stand up, could not roll over in the bed, left the facility walking with a walker, have come back to us in outpatient and continued their big program and are now completely, handling life. The success of the program is just phenomenal.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors and meet new people. We have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails.
This is the face of a fighter.
I'm fighting to keep Tennesseans working.
I'm fighting for time with my friends.
I'm fighting for football on Saturday.
I'm fighting to see my students back in the classroom.
We're fighting for our small business.
I'm fighting to keep my family safe.
Whatever you're fighting for, it's time for all Tennesseans to fight back. Until there's a vaccine for COVID-19, this is the face of a fighter. Face it.
And welcome back to Election Night on LightTube. I'm here with P-Head Productions and Jim Fuller. And of course, we've got Tullahoma News in the room as well. We're all working collectively together tonight to bring you all the numbers from all of the districts and the precincts and early voting. We've got people out at Franklin County. We've got people out at Coffee County. We don't have early voting numbers yet, though. And we do have a little bit of a snafu just happening over there at which was at Cedar Lane Church of Christ, because as we've mentioned before, they've got the two precincts, 9-2 and 9-4. There was a little bit of confusion there, but we're getting those numbers. We'll have them for you as soon as we possibly can. So while we're waiting, Jim.
I think probably from what we've seen here in Tullahoma, let's look at these totals, because you folks are at home and watching are probably really interested in those totals, and that's where we stand right now. Jerry Mathis leading the ticket with 678. Followed by
Kirk Glick has broken for 600 as well.
600, 609 for Kirk Glick, and Bobby Wilson and Daniel Berry.
Now, Daniel Berry is running an interesting race as well, because he's got to hold on against those four that were on the endorsed ticket. So he's doing really well holding on. We'll just have to see if he can manage to hold on throughout the rest of the night. Right. Not anything against the people who are running on that ticket, just that has been such a slate of here are your four, that it has been hard to hold on against. And so far, Daniel Berry is holding
He is holding on at this time.
Numbers.
And, I'm sure that wasn't easy. And I'm sure he's had to work awful hard to do that when your own party doesn't endorse you. So
and that's got to sting a little bit. But goodness knows, Daniel has gotten used to stings on election night. Goodness knows. We got those early voting totals last thing in 2020 when he was running for mayor and had just run precinct after precinct after precinct.
And we were reporting it all night, and he led all night long, and then the early votes came in, which they used to come in first. We're not sure what happened there, but it was a shocker right there at the end.
It was
last time.
indeed. It was a roller coaster ride for sure.
Right.
So let's see. We've heard from both of our precincts in District 7. We've heard from CD Stamps and Wesley Heights. We've heard from both of the precincts in District 8, which was Lions Club and Grace Baptist. So it's really District 9 now that we're waiting for, because we will be able to call the commissioners. Actually, I think District 9 is the district where we can already call. I think that's the one that's running uncontested. So we know who all of our county commissioners are by this point in the night. Although I don't remember seeing the commissioners' totals to know whether, I'm sure Tina Reed did get elected. I'm not sure if Jackie or Rosemary did. We'll take a look at those commissioner totals when those come back
Jackie and
around.
Rosemary were the incumbents there.
Yes, they were. But Tina Reed was doing well in both of the District 7 precincts that we saw. Those totals, I'm not sure we've seen put together yet. So Franklin County early voting is in now. And this is, now remember, these are just for a small number of Tullahoma residents who live over the Franklin County line. They do not cast votes in our county races. These are the only things they voted for.
And this is early voting. Has been the trend all night. Jerry Mathis leading here with 82, followed by Kurt Glick with 76. Daniel Berry with 61.
And early voting, Rupa Blackwell did very well. Now I'm making sure I'm looking at all those numbers. It's a lot to look at all at once. Rupa's got 59 there. We see Bobby at 49. We see Linda at 53. And we see Cernobia at 56. So it turns out Rupa did, in Franklin County, manage to get up into that top 4. But again, these are small vote totals. This is a very small portion of Tullahoma that votes across the county line.
Exactly. I think there's 985 people that actually live in Franklin County, but also live in the city limits of Tullahoma. But I'd have to think the early vote totals are suppressed somewhat by the fact that they actually have to drive to Winchester to vote early if you live in Franklin County. So
there you go. Well, we've got current totals for you now in the alderman and school board races. And you can see that Kurt Glick, Jerry Mathis really is out there ahead. I didn't even see that first digit of a 7. He's broken the 700 mark right there to take up the lead. And we've seen it in precinct after precinct. So unless we get very, very surprised by early voting, Jerry Mathis looks like almost a sure thing this evening. Can't call that yet, but looking very, very good. Kurt Glick right behind him, right there is 685. Now we're down into the 600s, and you see Bobby Wilson and Daniel Berry both have also broken that 600 mark. Bobby Wilson at 611.
Three votes between 3 and 4 there, right?
That looked about right. The numbers have gone away. Now, I don't know if we can get a look at those district current totals on the county commissioners races. But that may be, we've got somebody working graphics for us. In fact, Randy, our producer, thank him for doing this every year with us. And here we are. These are our current totals. As I told you, we've seen everybody from District 7. So we can, oh my gosh, by one vote, call that race. Not certified, but it looks like Tina Reed is in. Jackie Duncan stays on by 1 vote and ekes Rosemary Crabtree.
And let me point this out. I think when Jackie lost as Tullahoma alderman, he lost to Daniel Berry. He lost by 5 votes. So now he wins his seat.
And we're going to take one. Well, I was going to call the other ones. We can also call District 8. We'll do that when we come back right after this.
Citizens, life looks like this. But it doesn't have to. When you make your home at Parkview Senior Living, life after retirement takes on a whole new meaning. Daily exercise options, fun outings, happy hour, game nights, movies and popcorn, arts and crafts, enjoying friends over chef-prepared meals. Parkview Senior Living, where you're always home, but you're never home alone.
The individuals with dementia, those with Parkinson's, those that have maybe mobility issues, need caregivers. Well, those caregivers are 24 hours a day at home, and they never get a rest. And if they have to go to work, they're kind of out of luck. So that's why Trinity came into existence 25 years ago, to allow the caregivers to have a safe center where they could put their loved ones, know they would be well cared for, stimulated, fed good, nutritious meals, have activities to their level, and then the caregiver can stop by and pick them up and go on home and have some continuity into their life.
I was skeptical about getting the COVID-19 vaccine. There are a lot of opinions being shared. But I had the chance to talk with my doctor about my concerns. He told me the vaccines are backed by decades of research, and that the vaccines are proven safe and effective. Now I'm protected and ready to put this pandemic behind us. Join the millions of Tennesseans who have decided to give COVID-19 vaccines a shot. Visit covid19.tn.gov to find an appointment today.
MacArthur Manor Assisted Living is passionate about creating better experiences for our Manchester seniors. Our residents describe us in a few words.
Welcoming.
When you walk through the doors at MacArthur Manor, we'll treat you like family.
Caring.
Through high standards of personalized care, we help residents live life to its fullest.
Engaging.
With a wide range of life-enriching activities, there is something for everyone at MacArthur Manor. With our residents and staff now vaccinated, call us today to schedule your safe and personalized tour.
To be honest, I was skeptical about getting the COVID-19 vaccine. I checked what the CDC says and spoke with my doctor about the potential side effects. It definitely made me much less anxious. She told me if I have some arm pain or feel tired, that's completely normal as my body builds a defense to the virus. I was willing to take the vaccine to protect me, my family, and my friends. Join the millions of Tennesseans who have decided to give COVID-19 vaccines a shot. Visit covid19.tn.gov to find an appointment today.
It's not invoice. It's not MSRP. It's not Christmas Day, although it may feel like it. It's the lowest prices in Middle Tennessee, period. It's a Stan McNabb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Stan McNabb Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac before these prices are gone forever.
Every year, thousands of people come together in Shelbyville, Tennessee to celebrate the greatest horse in the world by naming world champions and world grand champion Tennessee walking horses in multiple divisions. Join us this year for the 84th Annual Tennessee Walking Horse National Celebration, featuring 198 classes starting August 24th and continuing through September 3rd, when the world grand champion Tennessee walking horse will be crowned. Contact the celebration today at 931-684-5915 and reserve your seats. Then come out and enjoy 5 days and 10 nights of the best Tennessee walking horses competing for top honors.
Clayton's has been Tullahoma's shoe store for over 120 years, and Florence Hall continues that tradition today. We're the only shoe store in town that starts with measuring your foot to make sure you get the perfect fit in a quality shoe. That includes narrow through wide widths for men, women, and children. Clayton Shoes, the family shoe store you'll love.
We're gonna fit your style. We're gonna make you smile. Service and quality at Clayton Shoes.
Lepchinsky here with Jim Fuller, and we are going to go back and look at those commissioner results that we looked at right before the break, because we can call all of these now. These numbers that you are seeing are telling you who won. All precincts have been heard from, not in District 9, but there's only 2 people running. They're not contested. Lynn Seaborn, Frank Watkins won before they got a single vote. They were one and done. Now, District 8, you see there, Tim Stubblefield led with 380. Dwight Miller right behind him at 276. And this is true. This is true. We can call them from the precincts. Very good point from our producer, Randy Brewer, that without early voting, we don't actually can't call them. We only have those from the polls. District 7, same thing.
What a guy. He's always there.
He's on top of it, I tell you what.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you're just sitting here yakking, and your mouth works faster than your brain.
This is hard, folks. This is harder than you might think.
Right.
Especially when you don't get the totals in on a timely manner.
So Tina Reed leading again until we get early votes, but it looks pretty clear that Rosemary and Jackie just split votes or got the same number of votes for people who voted down the ticket, but there were just a number of people who came out.
Tina Reed was an independent.
Indeed,
right.
Indeed.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But both Rosemary and Jackie were the Democratic candidates, right. So people who picked 2, it looks like, pretty much picked both of them, and then people who picked the independent, or I don't know how that would have worked out. All we know is that Tina Reed has considerably more than either Rosemary or Jackie, and
Right.
that Jackie right now is 1 vote ahead of Rosemary. We'll see if early voting changes that. So I have to rescind my earlier calling that because of early voting. Same thing, District 8. We know Tim Stubblefield, Dwight Miller, early voting could bring Marion Galbraith back into the race, but it would be really, really tough for her to catch Tim Stubblefield. I say that, but we did have 1,800 early voters
That's
in
right.
Tullahoma,
You know,
so nothing is
So
impossible.
that's quite
at
a
this
chunk
point.
of votes that
Yeah.
could really change things.
Well, let's go back to our current totals in all races right now. Because if you look at this, our top vote getter right now is 760 votes, right? There are 1,800 votes that have been cast and are still out there. It's possible anything could happen. Now we're seeing what might be prevailing winds from what's happening at the precincts. Maybe they're not prevailing winds in early votings. We can't say that for sure. 1,800 votes out is, double any of those numbers. So we are just waiting for those totals. Now, we do have people, as we said earlier, at both of the Election Commission offices. We did see the early voting totals from the Election Commission for Franklin County races, but those are very small numbers from the people over the county line. It's going to be a lot coming in from the Election Commission, and this is a point we may not have. Well, in county races, nobody in Manchester will have voted for our alderman races. I was about to say, is there a distinction we have to separate Manchester from Tullahoma? But I guess not, because they will have voted for county mayor and sheriff, and all should. And then no one in Manchester will have voted for our guys here in the alderman or school board races. So that early voting will not need to be parsed out in these races.
And, normally you'd think the early voting will come down to, we usually see it in reverse. We see the early voting first. But you would think it should come down to kind of the same percentages as it does here.
You would think.
But still in all, that third and fourth there is pretty close, 3 votes. So.
Indeed. Now, one of the things that we're still looking for, of course, in our District 9, that is the one that was broken down to Wilson Avenue Church of Christ, which we did hear from. Can we take a look at the Wilson Avenue Church of Christ numbers here? Now, is that right? Yes, they're all Church of Christ in District 9, it turns out. Cedar Lane Church of Christ is the one that we do not have totals from right now. The Wilson Avenue Church of Christ, you can see how District 9 went. Lynn Seaborn, Frank Watkins for commissioner already done, as we've said. This is the one where Judd Matheny doubled Margaret Cunningham. Chad Parton well ahead. But this is where we are on just a portion of District 9 for the alderman races. Jerry Mathis well out ahead. Daniel Berry in second in this district. And then we see the 89s and 88s. Now, this is the one, I think, the one that we've seen where Rupa actually did fairly well. Cernobia did fairly well, kept a couple votes ahead of Bobby Wilson in that one. And Linda Johnson pulling up the rear in this one polling precinct. But it is 1 out of 3. And one of the things that we're waiting on now, it's an easy confusion to make. The other part of District 9 has 2 precincts at 1 voting location. 9-2 and 9-4 both happen at the Cedar Lane Church of Christ. We had a little bit of confusion about that. The poll runner has left the building. The voting machines have left the building. All of that is now on its way to Manchester, and we will get those. Well, as it turns out, they must have made their way into Manchester, because here it is, Cedar Lane Church of Christ. I made it happen.
Same story here. Jerry Mathis with 102 votes. Kirk Glick with 98. Daniel Berry and Bobby Wilson with 84 each. Rupa with 64. And Linda Johnson with 82. So
That's a lot of numbers to look at. Good for you for getting those in the correct order, because that just becomes number soup in my eyes. That's 102 for Jerry Mathis, sticks out, and he has been a vote leader in many, many of these districts.
Has he not led every poll, every precinct? So far?
It seems to me that's true. I just didn't want to say it and be wrong. But by the same token, Kirk Glick has been on his heels for most of the night. So those two seem to be our top 2 vote getters. But the rest can go pretty much anyway. Daniel Berry has been hanging in there right there. You can see he's tied with Bobby Wilson at Cedar Lane Church of Christ. That is 9-4. Now we still need to see numbers from Cedar Lane Church of Christ 9-2. We're going to make the assumption that these came in. If the voting machines were on their way to Manchester, we're going to assume that the poll runner didn't get them, that these actually came in off the bus. But,
Correct.
But I'm not entirely sure. They did get one precinct and then missed the second one. So this may be the one that they got. And 9-2 is the one on its way to Manchester.
It could be. Yeah.
We can't tell that looking at these screens. The fact that we're not seeing numbers pop up for 9-2 suggests that is what is happening. 9-2 is in the truck on its way to Manchester, to the Election Commission office, where we do have a member of the Tullahoma News waiting to grab those numbers for us. They will also be grabbing the early voting totals when those are released. Now, we're not sure exactly what it is that causes those numbers to be held onto. I think what it is this year is Andy Farah, who is our election commissioner,
Right.
has to wait to get those early voting totals from Franklin County. Now, we've got them. He's probably got them too, but he needs to get them all onto one document, one
Yeah,
printout.
surely they don't just drive them over there from Franklin County, would you think? Those
I believe that, what is her name? Margaret Otley, I think, is the
Yeah.
election commissioner
Right.
over there, and I think she emailed them
Yeah.
to Andy this year, but he
Yeah.
still has to get them all transferred over, intermingled with the
Right.
Coffee County results before they give those off to any reporters from any organization
Right.
that are over there in the election commission
Right.
office. We just happen to know tonight our runner in this group that we're doing here, our runner is from the Tullahoma News, and it's got nothing to do with him. He's waiting on those results. He
Right.
will report them to us as soon as he is given them.
Right. Right. Right.
And we just 9-2 was going to have to probably come in on the tail of those because they have to be driven there and opened back up.
I was wondering, I don't remember how big a precinct that 9-2. Is it 9-2 we're missing?
It is 9-2. It is indeed, yes. And that is the second one that votes at Cedar Lane. I could not tell by looking at 9-4. They didn't look like a small number of voters, but it looks like you've got that information right there.
9-4 had 74 registered voters.
Okay, so the 9-2, how many registered voters at 9-2?
At 9-2, there was 1955.
Okay, so those were waiting to get off the truck in Manchester. We also need to hear from North Lake, which is one of those Franklin County precincts, again, that won't have any bearing on the county mayor or
No.
the county sheriff, but will have a bearing on the alderman races and school board races. So, well, there's not much contention on the school board race there. So now, let's talk about when we have determined the top four. And again, when we determine the top four, we don't do that.
No.
We just tell you what our poll runners told us, what the other news organizations have. We don't say what's official. The Election Commission says what's official,
Absolutely.
and that doesn't happen tonight.
No.
No. So there is a Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting coming up next Monday. You're not going to see these people installed that quickly. More than likely, it will be 2 weeks out. You'll see that meeting that happens on the 18th. That is very likely going to be the swearing in, or I'm sorry, the meeting on the 22nd.
Right.
The certification is probably going to happen right around the 18th. The Board Mayor and Alder meeting on the 22nd is likely where we will see whoever the top four vote getters are sworn in that evening.
Kelly, I will say that, yes, the Election Commission has the final say here and the only say.
That's right.
but we're usually right.
We would, well, I tell you what,
We
talked about this last time we did one of these elections. Anybody who actually went and voted in person, which I think most people did this time out, where we've got COVID sort of in the rear view. So when you put your ballot in, you put it on the machine. The machine took all of that information and did the counting. You were given a copy of your ballot to make sure it said what you wanted it to say. The information is in the machine. They'll certify it later by comparing those two things, but we're getting the information directly out of the machine. When it prints it out, it says, this is how many votes that were registered by this machine. And we've got somebody in another precinct who says, this is how many votes we had registered on this machine. And then it takes about 2 weeks, not quite, after this election, for the commission to go back through and go, okay, this machine's totals match these physical ballots that we have. And this machine's totals plus this machine's total match what we expect them to match and match what we said on election night. Also, they'll have to certify in Franklin County. So when that gets done, the certified results in Franklin County plus the certified results in Coffee County will have to be compared and made sure that that is exactly what we think it is. Now, the odds that we've got it wrong, very, very low, but we've seen data entry problems before. Fix them, but it can happen. You know,
Well, I think we've had, or maybe I've at least experienced data entry problems at least once, but we found it before the.
absolutely. And, you know, we don't call it. We don't go off
so.
the air when we can see that that's
Right.
clearly something wrong.
Right.
But if we're off in any way other than that, it might be a digit or two.
Which in
off.
that one race over there could be the difference.
That's true. That's
Two
true.
digits, but
But we have high faith and confidence in our
Yes,
poll
we
runners.
do.
We have high faith and confidence that they are giving us the most current numbers that are coming directly from any of those boxes that are out there. There's just one right now that's in transit. They can't get those numbers now. They have to make it to
Right.
Manchester to get them. And the Election Commission is going to be the one who has to open it up.
Enlighten me here. That was the one that had 74 registered voters.
No, it's 9-2. 9-2. That was the one that had your, what'd you say, 17?
It was 1955 registered
1955.
voters.
So 1,900 voters waiting for us in one of the Cedar Lane Church of Christ precincts, 1,800 voters waiting for us in Coffee County early voting. That's a lot of votes yet to come in, and certainly together, either one of them double what we've already seen.
Right.
Together, quadruple what we've already seen. We are in no way prepared to tell you who has won any race here, but we can see what the trend has been looking like in those.
We think that Judd Matheny is looking pretty good.
Well,
for county mayor.
I think it would take a pretty big upset.
And Chad Parton for the sheriff.
Certainly.
You know.
But then again, you know, like we said, Tullahoma voters are more likely to vote for Judd Matheny. We don't know that Margaret can't pull an upset with that many votes still out there. It's unlikely, I would think, that anybody upsets Chad Parton, though.
I'd say he's probably the lock right now.
I would say that as well, unofficially.
Right. And I think he and his family are from Manchester, the Manchester Hillsborough area, and so he'll probably do as well or better up there than he did down here.
Check this out. We have now got results in from North Lake. Now, this is one of those Franklin County precincts, small number of voters there.
Jerry Mathis leads again here with 70. Kurt Blick with 56. Daniel Berry with 50. And Cernobia with...
well, Bobby McGee was actually there ahead of
Bobby Wilson.
Yeah, Bobby McGee. Oh my goodness! Well, Janice Joplin will love my election results tonight.
I remember Bobby McGee. Okay, Bobby Wilson.
There you go.
There you go. Here,
So not looking good so far without early voting for Zenobia McGee or Rupa Blackwell. For either one of them to hold on to their seat, the best chance for an incumbent so far this evening, what we're seeing is for Daniel Berry. Those current totals you can see right there. Breaking the 800 mark is Jerry Mathis. Right behind him, breaking the 700 mark, is Kurt Glick. They're holding on to the top seats all night long. Both of them looking to, one would replace Jimmy Blanks, obviously. One will unseat somebody. Right now, Rupa Blackwell is looking like the most, well, no, Cernobia is actually looking like the most likely to be unseated. She's down there with 479 votes, but Rupa's not looking much better at 500.
and Bobby Wilson ahead of Daniel Berry by
there you go. Yeah,
11 votes.
That's definitely he's got some traction there. So wow.
I said 11. That's not right.
That's like 5 votes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there you go. Jerry Mathis and Kurt Glick looking very, very, very good tonight. Early voting still could move any of these needles. You just don't know what's going to happen. As we mentioned, a lot of votes still out there. Did we end up seeing 9-2? I don't remember if that was the one that just came in. Well, we saw North Lake. So no, we're still waiting on 9-2. Gotcha. We're still, so we still have, what is that, about 3,000, almost 4,000 votes still out there.
Yeah, and
that we know were cast.
I have to remind myself
we don't.
From time to time that because we are so used to getting those early votes first, that there's a lot of votes still out there,
right,
as you just said.
And let me correct myself really quickly in case I confused anybody, because we do know 1,800 votes are out there. That's the early voting totals. It was just under. You said 1795. 1795.
Yeah.
We know that there were 17 some registered voters in District 92. We don't know that they all cast votes, so I can't say we got.
If it was typical with most of the other ones, it'd be about 15-20% of those.
There you go.
Probably actually cast ballots.
So we can say we've got at least probably 2,000 votes
Right.
waiting for us out there to move the needle on any one of these races.
Right, right.
So we have got a pretty good wait for us ahead, because I think the only things that we're waiting for are things that are on the road to Manchester right now. We are things that are either already early voting needs to be released from the county commission, and then that one precinct that needs to get off the truck in Manchester. We're going to take another quick break, and we'll be right back with you.
Here at Barkview Senior Living, they're human friendly. That's why I love it here, and so does my senior human. When they want a bite, they get chef-prepared meals, and so do I. Movies in the theater, day trips, walks on the trail, and other senior humans to play with. The grass and the grounds are exquisite. It's everything my human needs to be healthy and active. Parkview, Parkview Senior Living, for your dog's best friend, you.
There's a lot of talk about the risks associated with the COVID-19 vaccine, but the reality is, it's safer than going for a run. Give it a shot. Find a free appointment today at covid19.tn.gov.
We teach Parkinson's patients how to move big and not let the Parkinson's slow them down. I've had patients I've treated in-house that could not even stand up, could not roll over in the bed, left the facility walking with a walker, have come back to us in outpatient and continued their big program, and are now completely, handling life. The success of the program is just phenomenal.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors and meet new people. We have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails.
This is the face of a fighter.
I'm fighting to keep Tennesseans working.
I'm fighting for time with my friends.
I'm fighting for football on Saturday.
I'm fighting to see my students back in the classroom.
We're fighting for our small business.
I'm fighting to keep my family safe.
Whatever you're fighting for, it's time for all Tennesseans to fight back. Until there's a vaccine for COVID-19, this is the face of a fighter. Face it, masks fight COVID-19.
We teach Parkinson's patients how to move big and not let the Parkinson's slow them down. I've had patients I've treated in-house that could not even stand up, could not roll over in the bed, left the facility walking with a walker, have come back to us in outpatient and continued their big program, and are now completely, handling life. The success of the program is just phenomenal.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
For many senior citizens, life looks like this, but it doesn't have to. When you make your home at Parkview Senior Living, life after retirement takes on a whole new meaning. Daily exercise options, fun outings, happy hour, game nights, movies and popcorn, arts and crafts, enjoying friends over chef-prepared meals. Parkview Senior Living, where you're always home, but you're never home alone.
The individuals with dementia, those with Parkinson's, those that have maybe mobility issues, need caregivers. Well, those caregivers are 24 hours a day at home, and they never get a rest. And if they have to go to work, they're kind of out of luck. So that's why Trinity came into existence 25 years ago, to allow the caregivers to have a safe center where they could put their loved ones, know they would be well cared for, stimulated, fed good, nutritious meals, have activities to their level, and then the caregiver can stop by and pick them up and go on home and have some continuity into their life.
I was skeptical about getting the COVID-19 vaccine. There are a lot of opinions being shared. But I had the chance to talk with my doctor about my concerns. He told me the vaccines are backed by decades of research. and that the vaccines are proven safe and effective. Now I'm protected and ready to put this pandemic behind us. Join the millions of Tennesseans who have decided to give COVID-19 vaccines a shot. Visit covid19.tn.gov to find an appointment today.
MacArthur Manor Assisted Living is passionate about creating better experiences for our Manchester seniors. Our residents describe us in a few words.
Welcoming.
When you walk through the doors at MacArthur Manor, we'll treat you like family.
Caring.
Through high standards of personalized care, we help residents live life to its fullest.
Engaging.
With a wide range of life-enriching activities, there is something for everyone at MacArthur Manor. With our residents and staff now vaccinated, call us today to schedule your safe and personalized tour.
To be honest, I was skeptical about getting the COVID-19 vaccine. I checked what the CDC says and spoke with my doctor about the potential side effects. It definitely made me much less anxious. She told me if I have some arm pain or feel tired, that's completely normal as my body builds a defense to the virus. I was willing to take the vaccine to protect me, my family, and my friends. Join the millions of Tennesseans who have decided to give COVID-19 vaccines a shot. Visit covid19.tn.gov to find an appointment today.
It's not invoice. It's not MSRP. It's not Christmas Day, although it may feel like it. It's the lowest prices in Middle Tennessee, period. It's a Stan McNabb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Stan McNabb Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac before these prices are gone forever.
There's a lot of talk about the risks associated with the COVID-19 vaccine, but the reality is, it's safer than going for a run. Give it a shot. Find a free appointment today at
coverage here on LightTube and of course with P-Head Productions. I'm Kelly Lepchinsky, Jim Fuller, and we're hearing rumors that maybe early voting numbers are on the way. So there they are, Tullahoma early voting numbers, and look at Jerry Mathis.
1,024 leading there as he has all night. Followed by Kurt Glick with 931, and Daniel Berry with 813.
But he
follows,
Bobby
yeah.
Wilson. Mm-hmm.
Bobby Wilson, sorry. 829. She's in third, and Daniel Berry in fourth at 813.
So if these carry over, and we'll look in just a second, we'll take a look at the school board numbers first. But if those carry over and get added to what we have before, we may see Daniel Berry hanging up. Let's take a look, though. Sid Hill and Gigi Robinson, don't want to not call them out all night just because they're not contested.
Right.
Gigi, 1282, and Sid Hill, 925, both expected to be back on the school board when this is all said and done. So while we've got these early voting numbers now, who's trailing right now? In the last place is Cernobia McGee. So we aren't expecting those numbers to add with her previous numbers for her to hold on to her spot. We may see Daniel hold on to his. So let's see if they've got those totaled up for us yet, or if we're going to see early voting.
16 votes separating Daniel Berry and Bobby Wilson.
Wow. If we've got totals, whether we've got for the early voting, will give us, there we go. Okay, totals in the alderman race. That's what we've got here. Jerry Mathis, you see, okay, there's your number one at 1672. Kurt Glick is your number two. We still have one precinct not heard of, but this is very likely your top two because they have run every precinct so far tonight. Then following them in the 14s, it's a tighter race. You've got Bobby Wilson in third, I believe, at 1492.
Correct.
And then you've got Daniel Berry in that fourth spot. Now, if this were the final number, Daniel Berry would hold on to a seat, but he would only get the seat for 2 years.
Right.
Those other three would have a 4-year term until
and he's 21 votes behind Bobby Wilson.
Now, it's nice. It's good to have those early voting totals because those are a lot of votes.
Right.
But because that margin is so small, it's all going to come down to that last precinct that we have not heard from. It's all going to come down to the numbers that come from District 9, Precinct 2,
Right.
from Cedar Lane Church of Christ, those numbers that are getting off of the truck right now. Now, I'm not sure. Andy Farrow would have already had the early voting numbers. These are just being delivered to us. But for him to get that precincts number now, they have to go through a whole rigmarole of getting that machine not only off the truck, but unsealing it.
Mm-hmm.
unless they've printed off a second copy, that's very possible. Now it's very possible the poll workers just tied up and brought a copy that our guys, in fact, that probably is what happened. They probably don't have to open the machine tonight. They probably do have the paper copy that they shared with our poll runners. They're just were in transit. There was nobody to report them.
Right.
Hopefully that is the case.
Hopefully
and we'll
you're
get
right.
those pretty quickly. It does occur to me that printout may actually still be available to them. Then there's our early voting in the county races.
And that's pretty much what we saw in Tullahoma. This is
Yeah, and this is for the
early
whole county.
voting.
Yeah.
Early voting, yeah.
So now we don't know how Manchester, well, I guess for county we do know. For Judd Matheny, sorry, I've got my district people and aldermans all mixed up here. County Mayor, Judd Matheny, far leading. That's every early vote cast.
Yeah, and I think this gives us an indication here of kind of what we can expect to happen here, since this is early voting. So there's, 5,000 votes cast here in the county, I think.
This is where I got myself confused. This is the entire county voted for this, but it's the entire county early voting. We don't know the entire county precinct voting. That's what I was trying to say. We don't know how Manchester will have voted in each of its individual precincts. We do know that in our Tullahoma precincts, Judd Matheny carried, I believe, all of them. We do know that Judd Matheny carried.
And so did Chad Part.
Right.
The sheriff's race. So.
They carried all of them in Tullahoma. We know that they carried early voting. What we are not going to be able to call those races because we don't know how Manchester precincts did. We've got a pretty good clue if the entire county leaned that way.
I think that margin is wide enough in favor of Judd Matheny and Chad Parton that they're probably.
I think they're safe bets. I think they're very safe bets. We just cannot call them. Not even say we're calling them. They aren't certified. We can't call them because we really do not know how Manchester voted individually.
Absolutely not.
But you've got a pretty good shot right there at what it is we're looking at. So now we have seen all the early voting. We've seen the early voting from Franklin County. We've seen it from Coffee County. There's Franklin County again right there. We've seen this before. Now we've got all the early voting totals in. We've got all the precinct totals in, save one. So our current totals for the night are going to be very, very, very close to the final totals. But once again, that precinct that we have not heard from, 9-2, has nearly 2,000 registered voters, 1955 registered voters. We don't know how many of them voted. We don't know how close a race they could run. Could be nearly 2,000 people voted in that race. It could be 2 people showed up at the polls tonight. That would be unusual, given what we've seen in most precincts.
Yeah, but we probably know that it's probably trending like the rest of the evening has. So, there might be 250 votes, 250 to 300 votes actually cast in that precinct. So.
And that would be enough to make a difference to some of these current totals that we're looking at right now.
Well, I guess obviously Jerry Mathis, Kirk Glick are probably going to be 1 and 2. So the question for us now is
3 and 4.
3 and 4, and that the 4 finisher only gets a 2-year term. So.
Yep. And as we saw the last time we took a look at that, it did look like right now Daniel Berry, without that last precinct, would hold on to get that 2-year term.
Right.
But like I said, we still haven't heard from everybody.
Right.
So let's take another quick break, another little quick breather, and hope that we get those last precinct numbers in right after this.
He's a little bit of you, he's a little bit of me. He's the trash along the roadside of Tennessee. He's the garbage that we find. He's the dream we left behind. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash. A throwaway bottle or pop-top can may not seem much to a traveling man, but a little bit of litter goes a long, long way. Rolling, growing, getting bigger every day. Tennessee trash messing up the highways. Tennessee trash junking up the byways. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash.
We have met the enemy, and he is us.
Clayton's has been Tullahoma's shoe store for over 120 years, and Florence Hall continues that tradition today. We're the only shoe store in town that starts with measuring your foot to make sure you get the perfect fit in a quality shoe. That includes narrow through wide widths for men, women, and children. Clayton Shoes, the family shoe store you'll love.
We're gonna fit your style. We're gonna make you smile. Service and quality at Clayton Shoe Store. We're gonna fit your style.
Every year, thousands of people come together in Shelbyville, Tennessee to celebrate the greatest horse in the world by naming world champions and world grand champion Tennessee walking horses in multiple divisions. Join us this year for the 84th Annual Tennessee Walking Horse National Celebration, featuring 198 classes starting August 24th and continuing through September 3rd, when the world grand champion Tennessee walking horse will be crowned. Contact the celebration today at 931-684-5915 and reserve your seats. Then come out and enjoy 5 days and 10 nights of the best Tennessee walking horses competing for top honors.
Here at Barkview Senior Living, they're human friendly. That's why I love it here, and so does my senior human. When they want a bite, they get chef-prepared meals, and so do I. Movies in the theater, day trips, walks on the trail, and other senior humans to play with. The grass and the grounds are exquisite. It's everything my human needs to be healthy and active. Parkview Senior Living, for your dog's best friend, you.
We teach Parkinson's patients how to move big and not let the Parkinson's slow them down. I've had patients I've treated in-house that could not even stand up, could not roll over in the bed, left the facility walking with a walker, have come back to us in outpatient and continued their big program and are now completely, handling life. The success of the program is just phenomenal.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors and meet new people. Have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails.
This is the face of a fighter.
I'm fighting to keep Tennesseans working.
I'm fighting for time with my friends.
I'm fighting for football on Saturday.
I'm fighting to see my students back in the classroom.
We're fighting for our small business.
I'm fighting to keep my family safe.
Whatever you're fighting for, it's time for all Tennesseans to fight back. Until there's a vaccine for COVID-19, this is the face of a fighter. Face it, masks fight COVID-19.
We teach Parkinson's patients how to move big and not let the Parkinson's slow them down. I've had patients I've treated in-house that could not even stand up, could not roll over in the bed, left the facility walking with a walker, have come back to us in outpatient and continued their big program and are now completely, handling life. The success of the program is just phenomenal.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
For many senior citizens, life looks like this, but it doesn't have to. When you make your home at Parkview Senior Living, life after retirement takes on a whole new meaning. Daily exercise options, fun outings, happy hour, game nights, movies and popcorn, arts and crafts, enjoying friends over chef-prepared meals. Parkview Senior Living, where you're always home, but you're never home alone.
The individuals with dementia, those with Parkinson's, those that have maybe mobility issues, need caregivers. Well, those caregivers are 24 hours a day at home, and they never get a rest. And if they have to go to work, they're kind of out of luck. So that's why Trinity came into existence 25 years ago, to allow the caregivers to have a safe center where they could put their loved ones, know they would be well cared for, stimulated, fed good, nutritious meals, have activities to their level, and then the caregiver can stop by and pick them up and go on home and have some continuity into their life.
I was skeptical about getting the COVID-19 vaccine. There are a lot of opinions being shared. But I had the chance to talk with my doctor about my concerns. He told me the vaccines are backed by decades of research, and that the vaccines are proven safe and effective. Now I'm protected and ready to put this pandemic behind us. Join the millions of Tennesseans who have decided to give COVID-19 vaccines a shot. Visit covid19.tn.gov to find an appointment today.
MacArthur Manor Assisted Living is passionate about creating better experiences for our Manchester seniors. Our residents describe us in a few words.
Welcoming.
When you walk through the doors at MacArthur Manor, we'll treat you like family. Caring. Through high standards of personalized care, we help residents live life to its fullest.
Engaging.
With a wide range of life-enriching activities, there is something for everyone at MacArthur Manor. Residents and staff now vaccinated. Call us today to schedule your safe and personalized tour.
To be honest, I was skeptical about getting the COVID-19 vaccine. I checked what the CDC says and spoke with my doctor about the potential side effects. It definitely made me much less anxious. She told me if I have some arm pain or feel tired, that's completely normal as my body builds a defense to the virus. I was willing to take the vaccine to protect me, my family, and my friends. Join the millions of Tennesseans who have decided to give COVID-19 vaccines a shot. Visit covid19.tn.gov to find an appointment today.
It's not invoice. It's not MSRP. It's not Christmas Day, although it may feel like it. It's the lowest prices in Middle Tennessee, period. Get to Stan McNabb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Stan McNabb Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac before these prices are gone forever.
There's a lot of talk about the risks associated with the COVID-19 vaccine, but the reality is, it's safer than going for a run. Give it a shot. Find a free appointment today at covid19.tn.gov.
And welcome back. We are in the final stretches, we hope, of this election coverage, but we are still waiting for that last precinct. And interesting little thing we've been doing here, comparing the numbers while we wait. 9-2 and 9-4, these two precincts are at the same polling place, both Cedar Lane Church of Christ. Right. Now, if we've got the registered voters correct, it looks like we may actually have been given results from 9-2 rather than 9-4, because what we have here is the possibility that 9-4 only has 74 registered voters.
Right, which is not enough to make a huge difference. There's 21 votes there in separating Daniel Berry and young lady Bobby Wilson, and but if there's 74 voters there, you're looking right now at the total for the aldermans. We'll let you sort of soak that in there for a second. But if there's only 74 registered voters still out,
all of which won't have voted,
all of which maybe 30% of them would have voted, it might be, that's about 20-something votes. So,
but look at how narrow the margins are. In our top four, okay, you've got obviously Jerry Mathis, we've said all night, vote leader, vote leader, vote leader, vote leader. That's not going to be enough if it's down to 20, 30 votes to change him. No, I don't even think it could drop him out of leader. It can't. So Kurt Glick in second, same thing. He is well ahead. He's ahead by more than 100 votes. So Mathis and Glick are pretty safe top two. It's after that, when you come down, now we're looking at those 1400s where you've got Bobby Wilson, Linda Johnson, and Daniel Berry. In the 1400s, Bobby Wilson atop that list, followed by Daniel Berry, followed by Linda Johnson. But that is a spread from 1424 to 1492. That is enough to absolutely determine who our second and third vote place getters.
Yeah, it's second or third. I agree.
And there's three people that could get those two seats right now, looking at those current totals. There are enough votes to change that order. And two of them are going to get the votes. One of them is only going to get a 2-year term. This last precinct that we're waiting for can make that determination, even if it is the smaller precinct that we're waiting on.
Correct. We don't exactly know what the official turnout was today, but it's typically usually about the same as early voting, which the turnout there was 15, I think, 15 and a half. So.
Well, I think we can definitely say congratulations are in order. Again, we are not certifying anything. That is up to the Election Commission. But I think it is fair to say congratulations will be in order for Jerry Mathis and Kurt Glick.
I think that's pretty cut and dry. So.
And as you mentioned earlier, Jerry Mathis spent zero money on this race. He had the name recognition. He had the previous service to get us there. Kurt Glick, not surprising, name recognition for a different reason, not because he was ever on the city board or in a government position, but he did work for the city in that Parks and Rec position for a very,
can you
very
imagine
long time.
how many people he encountered in that job in 29 years?
So many,
You've
yeah.
met a lot of folks at those centers. So, I thought going in that he and Mathis had the name recognition thing happening for him.
Right. Although you would think incumbents would also have that
I would
recognition.
have too, and I think Rupa Blackwell is just, I guess, succumbed to the attack. I mean, she had everybody attacking her there for quite some time.
And interestingly, there, when you mention that, I do think that definitely played a part, because I don't think anyone until this campaign season started really had a negative word to say about her. In fact, from the time she first got elected, as you mentioned earlier, not on air, she topped the ticket when she won her seat.
Absolutely.
She was the
did.
highest vote getter. It was the national election that played against her.
I think you're right.
This absolute last time, I think many of the people watching probably heard, you've heard the slander campaigns out there. Well, she was a delegate for Biden. She was a delegate on the Democratic ticket, and the Republicans came out very, very strong against that in this race. You can see that it hurt her, but what is interesting there is that there must have been enough people fighting back against that backlash that they kept her vote totals above Cernovia, who nobody has said a negative word against ever once.
Right.
This has been a total campaign to get these four people into the 4 seats in this historic election that has 4 seats available to them.
I agree, and you're right. She was a delegate for Biden in the election, President Biden in the election, and obviously this is predominantly a conservative town,
yes,
Republican town, and right now the president's not real popular, so
when is the president ever popular? I don't care which side of the aisle you're on.
I don't recall. I can't recall in the last 6 years when you ever said the president was popular. But
yeah, it's an unfortunate thing for national politics to have a play in something as small as Tullahoma government. I mean, we're like 18,000 people, 20,000, I guess, after the census that caused this redistricting. Yeah. I guess we've hit that number now.
Right.
But it's small enough that we know each other. You go to church, you go to school, you're out in the community, you call each other and say, this is the problem, this is what I want worked on. And I do think both Rupa and Blackwell have proven that they were willing to listen.
Yes.
And we are at least seeing Daniel hanging in there so far. Rupa, there was no real reason other than national politics to have a complaint against what she was doing on the local level. And it says something about the way politics are going these days that matters on a local level now.
Exactly. And we may see someday where you have to declare your party and whatever.
Well, that has come up. One of our sitting aldermen, Jenna Almacher, tried to sue for that to happen. It failed, but it was clearly, and there was an interest in that at a local level. It might not fail next time. Yeah, we're seeing a very clear voice coming out of this election. As we mentioned before, Bobby Wilson was virtually an unknown going into this campaign. She came out strong with it, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast. the whole Save Tullahoma thing, I do believe she was an instrumental part of that. I think a lot of people who got involved in that got to know her in a way that maybe they didn't before. But
that was a pretty vocal group. I guess they could have made a difference.
Well, it's an interesting thing to say that, because if you think about it, when here at LightTube, we did a Meet the Candidates. A lot of people may have seen that.
Mm-hmm.
And we did hear from two of the people who were not incumbent. We did hear from Kurt Glick. We did hear from Linda Johnson. They both came into the studios and gave their 10-minute stump speech. Now, what we allow them here is to come and talk for 10 minutes uninterrupted. Anybody. Daniel Berry did it. Rupa Blackwell did it. I may have forgotten somebody else who participated. But they come in uninterrupted. They aren't asked questions.
Right.
Now, when they were given the opportunity to be interviewed and asked questions, only the incumbents responded.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that tells you something. You say, well, maybe people got to know them or heard well, we didn't hear what they were about.
Right.
Well, the only thing we knew what they were about is whether they had a D or an R in front of their name.
Right.
For these people that we didn't know. We knew Jerry Mathis, we knew Kurt Glick. But Bobby Wilson, really the only thing you knew about her is either you bought a house from her, or you saw her name on that card, or you were involved in Save Tullahoma.
Right.
And outside of that, she really didn't tell anybody who she was or what she was about. It was all about the R on the card there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are obviously going to be plenty of people watching going, no, I know Bobby, I like Bobby, and that may be very true.
Obviously so.
But these kind of numbers, for her to be hanging in with incumbents the way she is, there's more to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's more behind it somewhere, and I do think it is part of this party line that's happening right now, because we do want to see, there's a group that wants to see those 4 seats that take over the majority on the city board.
Correct.
Okay, we are hearing that we may finally be about to see those final precinct numbers. We don't have them yet. You can probably hear our producer, Randy Brewer, there in the background.
He has been very busy in the background over there, trying to run down these last few numbers.
Let me tell you,
we need here. So.
How many precincts was it total? We had 2 runners out to District 7. We had 2 runners out to District 8, 2 to District 9. Coffee County early voting, Franklin County early voting, Franklin County North Lake.
Mm-hmm.
So right there, I've got 9.
Yeah.
Was that everybody? Did we get everybody? Because that's how many people we've got out there running around bringing these numbers back. And then one of them, that District 9, that wasn't 2. That was 3. So that's 10.
Yeah.
We had to get numbers back from 10 different people. We're working across. This is a great unifying thing that we're doing tonight. The Tullahoma News, P-Head Productions, and us here at LightTube. We've split up the difference. We've got different runners going different places so that we all could have the same results at the same time. So we're all waiting on the same thing, as it turns out. One little mistake at one of the polling places and getting the numbers. And here we are, waiting for them to come in to the Election Commission office.
Yes.
Easy to do, though. It was the one and only one of these precincts that had, one polling place, 2 precincts in it.
Yes.
And it used to be Grace Baptist. You used to wait for 2 results to come in from Grace Baptist. And one of them was this teeny tiny little part of town that represented Schmead.
Yes.
And maybe we waiting for less than 74 votes, which may be what we're waiting for now.
Yes.
But it was always one of the last ones you'd get because there were 2 of them in that one place. Well, now this year, it's just Cedar Lane Church of Christ.
Yeah, and this one is close enough for that last seat.
It is, and that's the unusual part.
Yeah,
we can't just say, hey, we think we know what the result's going to be. See you later.
Yeah.
We might have to, but we can't really literally say, hey, we know what the result's going to be if we do, because we can't walk away from those numbers with any security.
And I guess the biggest question is does between Bobby Wilson and Daniel Berry, is who's third, who's fourth?
Right. Oh yeah, we've got full security of Jerry Mathis and full security for Kurt Glick.
Right.
There's nothing that can happen from this point out that would not put either one of them on the board and very likely sworn in on the 22nd.
Right. So it's been an interesting night, and I guess we could say that Rupa Blackwell, thank you so much for your service.
Yes.
And certainly watching her as often as we do, because it's our job. We have to have a lot of respect for the lady both in the job she did while she was there and what she's been through in the last few weeks.
Absolutely. And, I think there's a certain amount of respect that you have to give anyone who runs for, wins, loses any kind of an election.
Right.
Because here's the thing, what you're saying is that you feel strongly about your community, you feel strongly about something going on in your community, and you want to be involved. And let me tell you something, that means a lot because we all have social media. We all know the armchair quarterback. We all know the guy who has something to say about everything, but doesn't get off his duff and go try to do something about it. So this is the one thing you can say about everybody running these races. They got out there, they said, I want to be involved.
Oh, yes.
And then there come the people who went out to vote. Same thing. You got the armchair quarterback saying, oh, I feel this way about this, I feel that way, oh, this is horrible. But then they don't go out and vote.
Right.
Well, these people that are being elected tonight said, I want to be involved, I want to be out there, I want to be in the room where it happens, so to speak. And the people who went out there to vote said, I want to make sure that I am represented the way I feel I should be represented. I know that I have something to gain or lose in this race. A lot of people didn't feel that. A lot of people in Tullahoma might not even know it's election night, believe it or not. They don't even know who their aldermen are. People who voted, people who ran, engaged, involved, and that is good.
Yeah. I read some statistics the other day, and I don't know if it was based on, I think it was a national kind of thing, but it was interesting that they said that, the 28% of the registered voters are Democrats and 24% are Republicans, and the other 50% or 47%, they're all independents. They don't, they're not into it. They're
the wide majority of people do
they
not
are not
care.
paying attention to
But
this,
it's good that we have people who do care. No matter which side they're on, you have to care to get anything done and make sure that things are not getting out of hand.
Right.
Talk more about that when we come back, hopefully with the last precinct numbers. You never know. See you in a bit.
Parkinson's patients how to move big and not let the Parkinson's slow them down. I've had patients I've treated in-house that could not even stand up, could not roll over in the bed, left the facility walking with a walker, have come back to us in outpatient and continued their big program and are now completely, handling life. The success of the program is just phenomenal.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
For many senior citizens, life looks like this, but it doesn't have to. When you make your home at Parkview Senior Living, life after retirement takes on a whole new meaning. Daily exercise options, fun outings, happy hour, game nights, movies and popcorn, arts and crafts, enjoying friends over chef-prepared meals. Parkview Senior Living, where you're always home, but you're never home alone.
I was skeptical about getting the COVID-19 vaccine. There are a lot of opinions being shared. But I had the chance to talk with my doctor about my concerns. He told me the vaccines are backed by decades of research, and that the vaccines are proven safe and effective. Now I'm protected and ready to put this pandemic behind us. Join the millions of Tennesseans who have decided to give COVID-19 vaccines a shot. Visit covid19.tn.gov to find an appointment today.
The individuals with dementia, those with Parkinson's, those that have maybe mobility issues, need caregivers. Well, those caregivers are 24 hours a day at home, and they never get a rest. And if they have to go to work, they're kind of out of luck. So that's why Trinity came into existence 25 years ago, to allow the caregivers to have a safe center where they could put their loved ones, know they would be well cared for, stimulated, fed good, nutritious meals, have activities to their level, and then the caregiver can stop by and pick them up and go on home and have some continuity into their life.
MacArthur Manor Assisted Living is passionate about creating better experiences for our Manchester seniors. Our residents describe us in a few words.
Welcoming,
When you walk through the doors at MacArthur Manor, we'll treat you like family. Caring. Through high standards of personalized care, we help residents live life to its fullest. Engaging. With a wide range of life-enriching activities, there is something for everyone at MacArthur Manor. With our residents and staff now vaccinated, call us today to schedule your safe and personalized tour.
To be honest, I was skeptical about getting the COVID-19 vaccine. I checked what the CDC says and spoke with my doctor about the potential side effects. It definitely made me much less anxious. She told me if I have some arm pain or feel tired, that's completely normal as my body builds a defense to the virus. I was willing to take the vaccine to protect me, my family, and my friends. Join the millions of Tennesseans who have decided to give COVID-19 vaccines a shot. Visit covid19.tn.gov to find an appointment today.
It's not invoice. It's not MSRP. It's not Christmas Day, although it may feel like it. It's the lowest prices in Middle Tennessee, period. Get to Stan McNabb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Stan McNabb Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac before these prices are gone forever.
Clayton's has been Tullahoma's shoe store for over 120 years, and Florence Hall continues that tradition today. We're the only shoe store in town that starts with measuring your foot to make sure you get the perfect fit in a quality shoe. That includes narrow through wide widths for men, women, and children. Clayton Shoes, the family shoe store you'll love.
We're gonna fit your style. We're gonna make you smile. Service and quality at Clayton Shoe Store. We're gonna fit your style.
Every year, thousands of people come together in Shelbyville, Tennessee to celebrate the greatest horse in the world by naming world champions and world grand champion Tennessee walking horses in multiple divisions. Join us this year for the 84th Annual Tennessee Walking Horse National Celebration, featuring 198 classes starting August 24th and continuing through September 3rd, when the world grand champion Tennessee walking horse will be crowned. Contact the celebration today at 931-684-5915 and reserve your seats. Then come out and enjoy 5 days and 10 nights of the best Tennessee walking horses competing for top honors.
There's a lot of talk about the risks associated with the COVID-19 vaccine, but the reality is, it's safer than going for a run. Give it a shot. Find a free appointment today at covid19.tn.gov.
Here at Barkview Senior Living, they're human friendly. That's why I love it here, and so does my senior human. When they want a bite, they get chef-prepared meals, and so do I. Movies in the theater, day trips, walks on the trail, and other senior humans to play with. The grass and the grounds are exquisite. It's everything my human needs to be healthy and active. Parkview Senior Living, for your dog's best friend, you.
We teach Parkinson's patients how to move big and not let the Parkinson's slow them down. I've had patients I've treated in-house that could not even stand up, could not roll over in the bed, left the facility walking with a walker, have come back to us in outpatient and continued their big program and are now completely, handling life. The success of the program is just phenomenal.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors and meet new people. We have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails.
This is the face of a fighter.
I'm fighting to keep Tennesseans working.
I'm fighting for time with my friends.
I'm fighting for football on Saturday.
I'm fighting to see my students back in the classroom.
We're fighting for our small business.
I'm fighting to keep my family safe.
Whatever you're fighting for, it's time for all Tennesseans to fight back. Until there's a vaccine for COVID-19, this is the face of a fighter. Face it, masks fight COVID-19.
We teach Parkinson's patients how to move big and not let the Parkinson's slow them down. I've had patients I've treated in-house that could not even stand up, could not roll over in the bed, left the facility walking with a walker, have come back to us in outpatient and continued their big program, and are now completely, handling life. The success of the program is just phenomenal.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
For many senior citizens, life looks like this, but it doesn't have to. When you make your home at Parkview Senior Living, life after retirement takes on a whole new meaning.
And we are back. Now, rumor has it that we have heard from the last precinct.
Right.
And we have some confusing information as well, because we told you there are 2 precincts there in, 3 precincts in District 9, District 1, District 2, and District 4. Now, here is that 9-2 that we were waiting on.
No,
That's what I said. That's 9-2. That's what we were waiting on, because 9-4 showed up earlier. Here's 9-4. This makes more sense, though. As we said, we thought they were backwards because 9-4 only had 74 registered voters. So that actually should be right. And we're told that they didn't vote in the alderman or school board elections. Now, we don't really know how that could be if they were voting at Cedar Lane Church of Christ, but that information is coming to us
from the
via
election commission.
The election commission.
Yes.
So we don't understand it, but that is what we are told by people who know more than we do. And that happens a lot. So Cedar Lane Church of Christ, 9-4, that is in. And we now see no surprises. Chad Parton leading by quite a lot. Judd Matheny doubling the votes of Margaret Cunningham. Lindsey Bourne, Frank Watkins, uncontested. They were already seated before this even went to the polls. So now, final numbers.
Okay. And as it was, has that changed? That hasn't changed since we left. Jerry Mathis, 2,044 votes, followed by Kurt Glick with 1,838.
And then we see 2 16s. Look how close they are. Daniel Berry hangs on in the 3rd spot. These aren't certified yet, but that would give Daniel Berry, if I am looking at this correctly, that would give him a 4-year term. Bobby Wilson gets the
2-year term.
Gets the 2-year term. She's in. She got the spot. But she got the 2-year term.
3 votes.
Wow. That is awfully, awfully close. But it's not wholly unexpected from what we saw. It is the order of them is, but we knew Jerry Mathis in, done. Kurt Glick in, done. Daniel Berry, Bobby Wilson, we were sort of watching a dog race there with a little bit of Linda in the race there as well. As it turns out, Daniel Berry reelected for 4 years, and Bobby Wilson 2. Of course, Jerry Mathis, Kurt Glick, that's also 4-year terms.
Right.
Okay. So, congratulations to all 4 of you.
Yes.
One incumbent reelected. Congratulations to you. 3 new aldermen, although Jerry Mathis has served before.
Yeah, he's got experience.
Yeah. And thank you for your service to Rupert Blackwell and Zenobia McGee. Commissioner finals. Now, we knew these. We just have the numbers now because these were clear all night long. Tina Reed. We did know Jackie Duncan had that 1 vote lead last time we looked. Well, now it's final.
Now it's 5.
It's a 5-vote lead.
Yes.
So thank you for your service. Rosemary Crabtree. Tina Reed is going to be taking your seat in this election. Now in District 8, we saw Marion Galbraith trailing, and she continued to trail. Dwight and Tim stay seated in their seats. And then District 9, uncontested. Lindsey Bourne, Frank Watkins, never had any other outcome for the night, but actually got some of the highest votes of confidence for the evening.
That's got to make them feel real good.
Yeah, absolutely. And then county mayor, you'd see right there, wow, that is not final again, because remember, we don't know the Manchester precincts, but in Coffee County as a whole, early voting, Tullahoma precincts, Judd Matheny is so far ahead. Manchester would really have to turn out the vote to make anything other than Judd Matheny the next county mayor.
Absolutely.
And then in sheriff, kind of the same thing. We do see some votes for Danny Farrell that we hadn't really seen throughout the night, but nowhere near coming near Brandon Tomberlin. And then, of course, Brandon Tomberlin nowhere near Chad Parton. County as a whole votes Chad Parton. Tullahoma votes Chad Parton. We don't know Manchester, but we say it's safe. It's pretty safe.
Yes.
Now, once again, there you go. There are your results for the night. Not final. They get certified in the coming weeks. We expect them to be certified by the 18th, and then we will see those top 4 vote getters sworn in, not this Monday, but on the second Monday meeting of the month, which should fall on the 22nd of August.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Absolutely. Congratulations to the winners. And we talked about it being a spirited and sometimes heated election. Let's all forget about that now and come together and
Amen.
love our
Amen.
neighbor and all support Tullahoma and try to make it as good as it can be.
Absolutely. Well, it's a late night. Don't forget to tune in and watch us again on LightTube 6 News tomorrow. We'll have another recap for you of this night's election. Tune in to P-Head. Watch football here on LightTube as well, Channel 23.
Football's coming up, and they carry it live on LightTube.
We do indeed. Tailgate party on the 18th before the first home game. We'll see you there.